Three.
Thank God for
What's
editing.
what is it? What's the double hockey sticks going on around this place? My goodness. All right.
The things we wish we said, but we didn't.
Right. Where the stories are real.
Yeah.
And just stay on page 1 already.
I know. Okay. Where the stories are real and the laughs are honest.
And sometimes the words come a little too late.
Oh, we're going there tonight. We are going there tonight.
Absolutely. We're going there tonight now that we finally know what the hell we're doing and what the hell we're talking about, and we've got things rolling here. Hold on, I need more tequila. My goodness. I'm going to have to edit the whole first,
the whole first
minutes.
Yeah.
18 minutes.
Oh my gosh. We burned so much time.
We really did.
We're trying to figure this stuff out.
I know.
My fault. Stresses me out.
100% my fault, because I should have had all this printed and going. I just thought, in my heart, you know why I don't do it? Because in my heart, I'm always hoping that our guest is going to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we went so long. We went over a year without having a glitch. Every time we had a guest, the guest was there.
Yeah.
And it was a good show.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden, the guests are not there.
They're dropping like flies.
What is going on with our guests?
I don't know. I want to do a deep dive on all the background on this and make sure that
we've done everything right.
I mean, I've sent double invites to everybody, so I don't know if people are.
And we even have automatics.
Maybe they've gone back and listened to the beginning of the show and we're like, I don't want to be a part of that.
They're like, these guys are crazy.
I just won't show up.
They have no idea. We just won't show up. I'm not going to be associated with them. My gosh. Right. What is going on here?
All right. So, what do we got going here?
So, you know what's wild? It's not usually the big speeches we regret.
No. Wait.
Yeah, because we already said that.
You skipped all this. You're throwing me off.
I already said it.
No, we didn't.
I said, we're going there tonight.
Right. And I said, we're absolutely going there.
Because tonight we're talking about the things we wish we said, but we didn't.
Soft pause. Oh, I see what happened. It double printed that line. Okay, now I get it. Now I understand the script. I get it now. I haven't had enough tequila. I get it now. Okay. Sorry, I was yelling at you, and I should have been yelling at myself.
You were yelling at me.
I was yelling.
You can tell that me and Tango have spent way too much time together this week. We've spent a lot of time working together this week.
Yes, we have.
So like I said, you know what's wild? It's not usually the big speeches we regret.
Correct. If that doesn't hit you right in the chest. I don't know if this is going to work tonight. I really miss having our guests.
Oh my gosh. You are so funny. I'm so proud of you.
Or you just haven't checked your memories lately. Wait.
I think you're just not.
Wait, I'm not. These pages aren't making sense. Like, you're down here, and I haven't even said any of this yet.
Oh my gosh. Right. Okay, so we're saying the things. Okay, right. That's it.
I got it.
The things that we wish we said, but we didn't. How many times have you been in that situation, Tango? Probably a lot, right?
Over my life, yes.
Yeah.
A lot. You know what I mean? And it's always afterwards where you're like, I wish I had said. You know what I mean? Usually for me, it's usually like after an argument. You know what I mean? Because then after an argument, usually like all the good stuff comes to my head. And I was like, yeah, I should have said that. I wish I had said that. That would have been great. That would have just stopped them right in their place. And then, then I'm always like, but I'm also one of those ones that I pre-write the script in my head when I know I'm going to have an argument. And then when it doesn't follow the script, I just get more mad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in your head, you're like, so I'm going to say this. They're going to say that. I'm going to say this. And then they're going to say that. And then I'm going to be right. And then it doesn't go that way.
No.
Then you're like, you didn't follow the script.
Kind of like you were just doing now.
Exactly. And it happened today at work. So Jay went to tell me a joke, okay? And he says, he goes, how does Darth Vader like his steak? And I'm just like, I don't know. And it's just then it's like, how does Darth Vader like his steak? I'm like, I don't know. What's the answer? He's like, you're not following the script. That's not what you're supposed to say. You're supposed to say, I don't know, on the dark side. And then he goes, no, he likes it. Dun, 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 dun. I'm like, you're stupid. Go away. So, it's one of those things where, it didn't follow the script. So
that's funny. That is funny. But you're right, though. Like, see, situations like that, you weren't even in that frame of mind. So do you think that it is like the frame of mind that you're in? So, like, if you're in a situation, like you just said, where you were like, okay, I know I'm going to get into a fight over this, or I'm going to get into an argument about this. But in my head, this is the way it's going to be playing out.
And I'm right.
And I'm going to be right in the end. And I'm going to have my moment. And I'm literally just going to walk away with the hand up. And I'm going to be like, and that's the end of that's the end of it.
You're like, I win. All right, so shut up. Everybody go back to the desk. And then when the script in my head isn't followed, it just makes me more pissed off. I'm just like, nobody followed what they were supposed to say. I couldn't say what I wanted to say because the cue didn't come up to say it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've done that so many times, and now luckily I've gotten over that, and I don't really think about it that much anymore. When arguments come up, I just, whatever comes out of my mouth comes out of my mouth.
What comes out of your mouth. And sometimes it's better. It's just like when we do this show, a lot of times I think sometimes we say things and we're like, oh, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't have said it that way, or we shouldn't have presented it that way. But the truth is like we always say, we are the people we are.
We are the people.
And we are the people. And we have a certain way about us,
Well, yes. I mean, I think that's one thing that we've loved most about this show is not only just meeting all these fascinating people from literally all over the world, but just the conversations and where they go. You know what I mean? Like we could start off like even right just now, the theme for tonight is supposed to be, things that we wish we had said but didn't. But we always add more into it because it's just our personality. What I mean? It's just to, we embellish all these different things into our stories that we like to share with our listeners.
Right.
And again, I do apologize if people were hoping to talk to Coley like we were. We'll reach out to him again after the show and see if we can get him to reschedule another time. We've had a couple of people that have rescheduled and are coming down later on in the year.
Yeah.
We are
really
booked till the middle of September right now, which
we
is
hope.
Awesome. And we've had two people that came to us through publicists.
Yeah.
So and we've got one coming up that I know we're both excited to talk to, and that's
Richard Sparks.
Richard Sparks, from BBC.
Yeah.
So that'll
be exciting. And not that we're not excited to talk to everybody, because we really are, but
I think it's just that he's our first celebrity.
Yeah.
So and that was the first one. That's where I really should have started with. But he was the first one that came to us from a publicist.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, this has got to be a hoax. You know what I mean? We're not even a year old and we're getting a publicist already reaching out to us. Come on. And then investigated it, and we both looked him up and said, he's a real person. You know, and everything matches up. So we'll see what happens. And then we had another one. Did we already talk to her? I don't know if we've already talked to her. She's coming up, but we had another lady that was her publicist handled the whole thing and asked to be on the show. That's when I like when they ask to be on the show, which we're getting more and more of.
I like that.
Because then we're not out there like trying to beg people to be on the show. It's like, will you please be on our podcast?
It usually is really good. We've gotten much better, but we've been thrown off guard a little bit because we've been chatting with our guests and not having our own little conversations. And
we really only got, I think, another month to go through, and then we'll know for sure that our schedule is going to be the first Tuesday of every month is going to be just us.
Yeah.
So we know that. So we'll be prepared for it. And again, just like things like tonight, because I always have in my heart, like, I really want to talk to this person. It'll be a great show. So I don't plan for it, which is wrong. And how many times have I said, we've got to have a backup plan? And we have a backup plan. We have a backup plan, and we can't follow it and read it.
Which it's okay. I mean, we always did just talk to you about different things. We had a subject and we just talked about it. We never really wrote it down. And I don't know. I think since we've gotten guests and we're becoming more professional, we were trying to follow
professional.
We were trying to start a new way of doing things. But anyway, back to what we were saying,
yes.
Like the segment, the things that we wish we said, like for me, when I'm like, I always have a side of me that sometimes I have to protect certain people. Like I just want to protect, I just want to protect people.
But when you say that, like, so are you like protecting them from your wrath, or just people that you never would want to yell at?
Right.
Okay.
Both.
So people you need to protect from your wrath,
right?
And then people that are just like, I love them too much, I'm not going to yell at them.
Yeah. Like, so if, for example, if I, if somebody said something to me and, it was like not a nice comment, then of course I'm going to say something bad back to them, in defending, like if somebody said, you know what, Tango, I don't really like Tango because he's, he's arrogant. So silly. He's so silly on the show and he just doesn't always talk about half the time. And I'd be like, okay, here's the thing. First of all, you don't even know Tango, so I would just be quiet. That would be the first thing I would say. Then I would kind of keep going on. But then, like now,
you got in your face,
yeah,
shut it.
This is my business partner and co-host on a really great show. Okay, so you don't know what you're talking about. And I'd be like, just sip it. So then, after that, like you would make those things up in your head, like the script of how it's going to go. After I leave that conversation, I'd be like, okay, maybe I should have said more. Like I should have really just totally ruled the roost on that one. I had so much more to say because I was so mad because somebody thought that they could just say whatever they wanted to say about my friend Tango, and I was not happy about that. So see, it's a protection mechanism on both sides. They got exposed to, the Angela that actually comes out when stuff like that happens. And, I feel like I didn't defend you 100% because I had the script going in my head of how it was supposed to happen. So,
yeah, it's funny because, I mean, I'm not ashamed to say, like, I have a therapist and I've seen her several times over the, course of the last maybe 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
And, we talked about that one time and she'd go, well, that's why you get so mad, is because you've got in your head the way that you think this whole story is going to play out. And you don't know the other players in the story, what they're thinking. You know what I mean? Like they've got their own stories going on in their heads. And, since you guys aren't reading the same script, then, it just ends up being a huge blowout. And the things that you want to say don't get said. And then you just walk away going, I wanted to tell them this, I wanted to tell them that, and then, because when the script doesn't get followed, well, you just saw it on the paper. If the script doesn't get followed, I'm just like,
what's going on?
What's going on? Script. Where am I on here? Wait, where's your argument on here? Tell me where you're.
But I think one of the things we forget to think about too, like when we're scripting that in our minds, there's no little bubble that pops up over our head that says,
nope, that's not going to work.
That's actually reading the script, like the guy that whispers behind the curtain, when you forget your lines. Like there's nothing there.
Like a little, either like a chat GPT or, somebody, Gemini or something in there that just like pre-reads it before you say it. Or, runs through the script in your mind. And it's like, okay, but this isn't going to happen. So maybe you say it like this. You'll still get your point across, but you don't have to wait for the script to be played first.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've done that a lot. And I think everybody does. I think it's just Raziel just wrote his grandma would always say, I'm going to give him the business. That was her line all the time. Give them the business. Now, mind you, this is coming from, a 90-year-old lady who was probably like 4'8" at the most. But she had spunk in her, and she would give people the business.
She would give people the business. See, and that's it. Here's some of the other things too. Like sometimes you wish you could say something like here's another example. Like just being in business, it's like sometimes we want to say something to our clients like, are you serious? Like, are you really serious? Like, no, that's not how it works. You go in, you do this, we'll tell you how to do that and blah, 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 whether or not we could do something. And then you really have to bite your tongue. Like you can't come back at them with certain things, like you really want to say something and you can't say that because it's not appropriate. It's not PC or it's not,
and even
whatever.
Above that though, is you don't want to offend somebody who's
right.
giving you money to do something.
Yeah.
But that's why I think like all businesses, especially small business, they should have like take a closet, pad it all up. And just give people like a 5-minute timeout when they need it. Make it soundproof. They can go in there, thrash themselves against the walls and scream as loud as they want, and then come back out and be like, okay, next.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really think every business needs one of those. It's like, okay, like the HR person could be like, okay, you need 5 minutes in the shout room.
The shout room.
Go in there, then come back and talk to me. Because I bet you'll have 2 different stories. I mean? You'll have one story before you go in, and then a totally different story when you come back out.
Yeah. Oh my God.
But it is fun. Like we're laughing now because a lot of these stories are hysterical. If you could replay them all in your head, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and I'm not saying that they all had to be arguments in the past. It could be any conversation, you know what I mean, that you were having, and maybe you were just waiting the moment to throw a punchline in there or throw something, put your 2 cents in.
Yeah.
And then it just feels like the script of the world didn't play out. Like you didn't get your part. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you just sit there and you're like, oh wait a minute, wait till he says this. No, that's not the right time either. And then before you know it, it's like 11 o'clock and everybody's going home. You're like, damn, I didn't get to say what I wanted to say.
I didn't get to say my punchline to the joke that nobody was privy to.
Right. But that's, again, I don't think they're always argument. I think, I think in everyday conversations, I think people get, especially in a group of people, it's easy to get not really personally bumped aside, but you feel like you got pushed aside because you're trying to get into the conversation and you can't find that breaking point to jump in. You're just kind of like, and now and it just doesn't seem like there's ever if you got 5 people talking and they're really engaged, but you may have something that you like, this is really good, I want to say this, and then it's just like the point you never get the chance to.
right. And your point that you maybe were trying to make is kind of like talked over or whatever the case may be, not like intentionally to be rude or mean or anything. It just
happens in conversation.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It was just in conversation, especially when you got groups of people, 4 to 6, 8 people
Mm-hmm.
all talking.
Yeah.
And, sometimes they're all talking about the same thing. And sometimes, people are talking different things. And I know I find it hard sometimes, to just get your 2 cents in there, just to join the conversation. Then at the end of the night, you walk away going, man,
I really wanted to talk about that or
I really wanted
say
to tell them
something.
they were so full of shit when they said that.
Yeah.
And I didn't get a chance
and you didn't get a chance to actually say it. Well, and I think we find that because we have a great group of friends,
Absolutely.
Our friends are awesome. And we actually, like you guys have probably heard, Tango and I, every Friday night we have our friends get together and, it's 2 other couples that we just, love to pieces, and we all have the same shared interests. And it's great because we get into these conversations and sometimes there's little debates, but they're not, they're not anything that's like over the top. I mean, even as friends, you have differences of opinions or whatever the case may be,
Yeah, you can see, I like to call them debates because, there's a big difference between a debate and an argument,
Yeah.
And the debate can be just as heated as the argument would have been.
Right.
But because hopefully you're dealing with intelligent people and you're having just a heated debate about something that everybody feels passionately about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But there's no, you shouldn't walk away with hard feelings about it, but.
Right. And I think that's it too. Like sometimes we think about the things that we shouldn't say as being things that you really shouldn't say. You know what I mean?
Right.
But because they're nasty responses or just something that you maybe shouldn't just say in general,
Yes. And I'm one who used to have one of those, like off the cuff, like my mouth would just fire off something, especially in an argument.
Yeah.
And I learned through being corrected by my husband what's the proper thing to say, when to say it, and what not to say, and when to keep your mouth shut.
Right. Yeah.
I think we've had one argument the entire time we've been married so far, and it went kind of like this. I forgot what he said. Well, no, because you'll see how short and brief it was. So I forgot what it was that he said, but my response back was a little snarky, maybe. At least that's what I was told. And all I got was a dead stop. He turned around. He's like, "That's how you're going to talk to me?" It's like, "Nope. Yeah, I'm sorry." End of argument.
And there you had it.
Closing. Exit stage left. As people like to say, it's like, what's the saying? It's like, I know who butters my bread. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, and that's funny. And that's almost like, what I'm picturing right now as this is going on, because I know Steven, so I can feel like in a play, when somebody comes out and they'll be like, as you can see, Tango was in a bit incorrect. Of a mood. And as you can tell, incorrect. Steven, let him have it. In the nicest way possible.
Really Well, how many times I tell that story to people and they just look at me like, that was an argument? It's like, that's the argument we've ever had. I learned quick.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes you just, there's a lot of reasons why we don't say certain things,
Right.
You want to avoid arguments. Some people don't though. So they press the issue,
See, for me, it all depends. Like obviously with, my marriage, my friends, some of my family.
Yeah.
I don't want to have arguments with, you know what I mean? I want a peaceful coexistence. But I'm also one of those people that has certain people that he just looks forward to the argument, where I'm just like, just say it. Just say it. Please just say it, because I am ready to go. And that never happened. Yeah. And that just makes me mad all over again. It's like, damn it. It didn't get said. I really had an argument ready to go. I could have gone for hours on this. And they didn't follow the script.
I think that's it right there, though. It's like you and I both have to forget about those scripts that are in our heads.
But you know what,
like
though?
It just doesn't work.
I don't think it's just you and I, though.
Probably a lot of people do.
I would love to. I want to see if there's a way to do a poll on this freaking thing, because I would love to know how many people like do the same thing. Like they know. So there are times when whether you're going to work or you're going to someone's house, an argument is going to be there. You know what I mean? The argument's just waiting for you. It's just, you know what I mean? And you start working up that script in your head. And by the time you get there, your blood pressure is, 200 over 190. And the veins are coming out of your neck and on your forehead, and you're just like, I'm ready.
I know.
I've got this whole argument in my head. I'm ready to go. Then you get there and they're nice as pie and you're like, no, this is not what I came here for. I came here to chew your ass out, and I want to chew your ass out. I
know. You're supposed to say this. It's just like, you guys are talking in the car. If Shelly says this when I get there, this is what I'm going to tell her.
Yeah. Then you get there and Shelly's nice as pie.
Hi, how is your day? Can I get you some pie?
Right. Can I get you a cocktail? And you're like, yeah, get me a cocktail. In your head, and you're like, yeah, get me that cocktail. I'm going to throw it right in your face. Then And you don't. You're just nice for the rest of the
You're
night.
just nice.
Then,
you're like, okay, well, this was defeated. I was defeated.
I think that's why it's so upsetting. It's like you feel defeated, like you didn't get to have your argument. You're 15 minutes, you know what I mean? So, but I was just looking at this other page on here, and I was laughing because it starts off with let's lighten it up a little bit because some of these are also funny, and then it's like oh yeah, it's like the arguments you replay later, which I always do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You lay there in bed, and good thing I don't have to do it now. Thank you, Stephen. I've had. In the past where I just lay there. I used to lay there after arguments and just like replay the whole thing in my head. It's like, okay, so I should have said this when that got said because I would have been right. That would have been the end of the argument and I would have won. But I said all the wrong stuff, so I lost. But I was just reading this, and so that was one of the things, and then where suddenly you become the most articulate person alive. You know what I mean? You ever have moments like that where it's just like you're pronunciating every letter of the word and you're like, everything is sounding perfect.
Like our parents used to do.
Yeah.
I told you to go to bed. B-E-D, Missy.
Yeah. That's when you knew. It's like, okay, argument time is over with. You've lost.
It's
time to retreat.
Just go.
Just go away.
Yeah.
So, but that's just, so I was reading this page because it's all funny stuff like that. And it's like, and then you're in the shower the next day, and all of a sudden you're like, and another thing. The argument's 12 hours old already, but you're still in your head. You're like, and another thing, and then you're like, oh well. Meanwhile, in real life, you're like, yeah, okay.
Because our alter ego would have said exactly, and another thing,
Right.
But the people we
I'm
are
dying
just like,
right
okay.
So because I can relate to all these. You know what I mean? I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been that person. Like 2 days later, in the shower, going, and another thing.
Yeah, but have you ever had like those conversations in your head, and all of a sudden you're like talking, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm actually talking out loud. Like I'm actually having the conversation and nobody's around. I've done that before because I'm just like, well, what does he think he's saying? Like, I don't think that's going to go that way,
I have not had a full-blown out conversation like that, but I have mumbled words before.
Yeah.
Like when I'm working and I'm really irritated, I'm definitely one of those persons that's like, at my desk going like, screw you, you're not getting I'm not doing this today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. And that's the end of that story.
Yeah.
But so anyways, I was reading on the rest of this here, and then it's like, and then you walk away like a confused extra in your own movie.
Isn't that the truth?
Or when someone says something wild and you freeze, and 3 hours later you've written a TED talk in your head. I've done that too. I think I can relate to all these on here because I've done that where something was said, and then at the moment I'm just like, I don't know. Yeah. And then 3 hours later or 2 days later, it's like I've written a whole new script in my head for what they just said.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, nobody's ever going to hear it except for my subconscious.
Right. Well, because you're never going to go back to that.
No.
It was like the end of the conversation.
Right. That would be funny, though. Could you imagine going back to somebody like, so I want to continue our argument we had 3 days ago because I still think you're wrong and I'm right. And here's my story. I've scripted it for you. Here's my 9 pages.
Oh, my gosh. That's so funny. And please remember to stick to the script.
Right. Oh, that would be even funnier. Like, you're going to have an argument and you walk in, you go, okay, so we're going to argue today. Here's my paperwork. It's 9 pages long. Just make sure you follow where it says your name on there, Angela, and I'll follow where it says Tango, and we're going to have an argument. And at the end, I win. So stupid. I'm sorry, everybody. I don't know. It's just been a long day. We worked late last night getting some stuff done, and then we had to go to work today, and it was a long day today and busy, and I think I'm just delirious.
I know, right? We've had a lot of late nights lately. We got orders to do and things to do, but we love it. We're not complaining about any of it.
Oh, so now I'm reading this, some of this on another page here, and this is the one that kind of sucks a little bit because sometimes those arguments, like the things don't get said, and then there's I'm proud of you, I missed you, hey, that actually hurt me type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you always think you're going to have another chance with people, And as we've all known, our little group of friends are aware of the last couple of years, you don't always have those extra days and time to go back and chance. Apologize or continue that script in your head and say, I was right.
Yeah.
So there's things like that.
So I mean, that's really kind of the sad side of.
Well, that's the sad side of arguments. Yeah, is that you sometimes things get said that
you wish you didn't.
Correct. So that's the other side of this whole story. You know what I mean? So there's the things that you wish you said and didn't, but then there's also things that you did say that you wish you didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And unfortunately, I'm one of those people that believes that things that get said in the heat of the moment have at least a half truth to them. You know what I mean? And people just don't make stuff up like that out of their head and say something mean. There's background to that somewhere. You know what I mean? And that's the part that probably needs to be talked about more. Like, why'd you say that? Because that was really, really mean. And then they're always like, well, I didn't mean to say. It's like, well, kind of did because you said it. So obviously you must be thinking it to some point. You know what I mean? There's something there. So I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm.
I don't think you are. Since somebody who always wants to be right, you're not wrong at this point with that one. You're actually right. But I think it goes to how we're wired. You know what I mean? Like we're wired so differently,
Yes.
Like some people, when they say something, they're very reactive, like you say something to me that I didn't like, but today, because we were up until what time last night, doing whatever we were doing, working on orders and doing whatever. And then we get up and go to work. So we're tired, we're off our game, whatever the case may be. So your reaction today to something somebody said may be totally different than tomorrow. When when you've had enough sleep, you ate right, you had 12 cups of coffee, whatever the case may be, then those situations are different. So I think we're all wired differently.
And I agree with you 100% on that because I'll share a little personal information. I mean, you were witness to it a little bit, but I don't know how many people know that I've had neuropathy pain since 2019.
Yep.
And it's been getting worse. And a lot of people, especially my friends, but some other people, some clients know that I've had those bouts of insomnia where I just can't sleep. My feet and legs are so restless and pain and stuff like that. And I would get up and go to work at 1 o'clock in the morning, but it was starting to take a toll on me a little bit. You know what I mean? I talked to my primary doctor. I reached out to my therapist and I said, I'm scaring myself now. You know what I mean? I'm starting to, at 1 o'clock in the morning when you're sitting on the couch and you can't sleep and you're just rocking back and forth because you just want to sleep so bad, but you can't. Things start rolling into your head. You know what I mean? And they're not always pleasant thoughts. And luckily, this should probably be like a whole other segment at some point, another show, but maybe like healthcare or something like that.
Yeah.
But because I think people need to start taking responsibility for their healthcare a little bit on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just, and I'm not knocking doctors or anything like that. I think they do what they can, working within the system, and and insurance companies and budgets and all that. All that stuff that goes around with that. It's just not a matter of just walking and saying, "Can you help me?" There's 3 feet of paperwork that has to go along with everything. But I took it upon myself to stop taking all my medications except for the ones that I really needed. So I stopped all the pain medications, and now I'm only on Lyrica twice a day, and it's made a huge difference in my life. And you mentioned earlier, like sleeping. I think sleep is the biggest thing, the biggest health thing that your body needs above all other things, because
Well,
and
lack thereof sleep.
yeah, well, when I was going through that, I
yeah.
was just like, in a daze all the time, and just irritable and just not feeling good, and my stomach was bothering me. I was having headaches and everything else. But now, I've stopped taking all these other things, and now I take the only things non-prescription that I take is my sleep gummies, and and for that I got kind of chewed out by 2 doctors in the last 2 weeks because they're like, well, you need to be on your CPAP machine. That's what it's for. But I've lost 20 pounds in the last year. And even Steven has said, I'm not doing that like choking sleep thing anymore. And I'm not, waking up gasping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think the sleep is the best part. I'm getting now there's times when the alarm goes off at 6 o'clock and I wake up and I can still feel the gummy a little bit, Brian, we were both talking about, it's like, if you get up in the morning, in the middle of the night, you got to go pee. You're kind of like stumbling down the hall, like, oh my God, I can't walk.
Yeah.
But I can't say enough about, getting that sleep and just don't take, I don't know. I'm just a big proponent for not taking, just because somebody says you should be taking some medication, just don't take it. Do a little research on it and, ask questions on it, because I was on quite a few different things, and I'm so glad now that I'm not, because it's made a big difference. But that's my little side story.
But it definitely, I mean, again, it goes back to what we were saying, like you were deprived of sleep, you were in pain, all of these things make for a not happy individual. Not
only that, but it's also I think it's mood altering, and I think it's also character altering.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because you're not yourself. So you're,
a way that you would react in a situation or do something is totally out of character. Right. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
But anyways, again, that's my little. I know I have a habit of going off the deep end.
Yeah, it really wasn't. I mean, because it really just kind of shows you that, you would have been reacting differently to situations 100%. Because of the way you were feeling. So
I'm just reading through some of your notes here too, but I guess this could probably be like our closing part, maybe getting close to it. But let's talk about why we hold back. Like, why don't we say the things that we want to say?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously one of them is fear. That's the easy answer. We're afraid of, in our heads, again, going back to the script that we all play in our heads. Sometimes you're afraid to say those things because you don't know what the reaction might be. You know what I mean? Because you think in your head, if I say this, they're going to do that. But what if they don't?
It may not always work out that way.
You know what I mean? And as we've been talking, usually the script in your head does not play along with what's going on in life very closely.
Well, and I think too, just with the professions that you're in, like we're in, you can't, not only the work we do together, but the work outside of what we do here, who I work for and stuff, I can't say some things like that. Like, we have to be very professional and discreet, and there's a big confidentiality thing with where I work. So that's a big reason why I wouldn't react the way that I would react, outside of the office. For a lot of reasons, I could get in trouble. I could lose my job, and those are not things I'm looking to do right at the moment. I don't want to get in trouble, and I certainly don't want to lose my job because I actually like it. So, but, that's a big reason. I think just society in general, like when you're doing certain things, like the situations that you're in, you may not, you may think in your head some of the things that you would think that you would want to say because the situation's weird or whatever. But
or you may picture things in your head like, somebody standing with a knife in their head. Those are inappropriate. You really
right. Yeah. Or like, oh my goodness, I hope that person just slips right into the pool. They're walking along the edge. No, but seriously, like there's so many reasons why you shouldn't say certain things, it's not just hurting the next person's feelings. You could lose your job. You can, you just don't say certain things.
I'm sure we've all met somebody though that really does like to be a mean person. You know what I mean? Like they say they don't care who they're hurting or what they're saying, and they say things that could be true or not true, and they don't care about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But another reason that we hold back is fear of rejection. That's obviously one of the big ones. Or misunderstood, I think, is probably one of the biggest ones. You know what I mean? Because how many times have we said something, and like maybe the inflection of one word, or the positioning of the words, the way you said it, just made it sound so much worse than you wanted it. Right. Or you're trying, maybe you're just trying to be like a little judgmental, or you're just trying to maybe even like help, but because of the way you toned it and the way it came out, it's just like people just look at you like, oh, that was the meanest thing you could ever.
Why did you say that? Right. Well, it's funny that you say that, because me and my husband have those arguments all the time, because of his presentation, like the way he speaks, it always sounds like he's yelling at me. And half the time he probably is, and I probably deserve it because I provoke him. But no, seriously, like just his way of talking, sometimes he's very stern when he's talking, and I'm just like,
I'm not 12 years old.
You think you're talking to me like that? I hope not. So, I always go off like that, but I don't think a lot of times I really don't think he means to be that way. It's just his way of talking. I mean, you're laughing because you know him, and you know what he's like, and you know me, so you know what I'm like. But sometimes you just have that like communication gap.
Yes.
Where you might be having a conversation or trying to have a conversation, but it sounds like somebody's dogging you, like you don't know what you're doing, when you're not really trying to be like that.
Right. And it happens at work all the time, because you've got, well, first of all, it's a completely male dominated workplace. So there's no, there's no female interjection to kind of like, maybe, I don't know if it would help though. I don't know if it would calm things down or make things worse. I guess it depends on who you had working there. But anyways, so, it's a lot of testosterone running around the place all day long, and things get said all the time that are just taking so wrong. You know what I mean? It's taken out of context, and it's taken, maybe you're like on the way out the door and you said something quick, but it sounded harsh, and you didn't mean it to be harsh, but because of the situation, it came out that way. You know what I mean? So then it starts like a whole day of like people just going back and forth and arguing. And of course, me just sitting at my desk like, shut the fuck up. I love where I sit, because I sit far enough away from everybody. I can sit there and mumble stuff all day long. Nobody can hear me.
Nobody can hear.
So I'm just like, you're stupid. Go away. But I think the misunderstanding thing is a big thing. I think because, I mean, look at, everybody has their own way of speaking, and all it takes is emphasizing the wrong word in a sentence. I mean, you could take a sentence, write it down 10 times, and emphasize one word differently all the way down, and it changes the whole meaning of that. Right. And so I think that's the biggest thing with people, wishing they had said something maybe differently, or not saying something at all. And then, of course, there's always the fear of making things worse, which, is always a big one.
Yeah.
But this one right here, I'm not afraid of. Okay. So this is the one thing I love. So I am very, very highly guilty of being too honest. Like, if you ask me a question and you want an honest answer, I will give it to you. And that's the one it gets me in trouble all the time at work, because people will ask me questions and I'm just like, okay, you want to hear the answer? Here's the answer. And a lot of people can't take the truth. They don't want, they think they want it, but then when they hear it, they're like, that's not what I had in my head.
Right. Yeah.
But I've done it with customers and people I work with the same. I've had customers come in and show me artwork, and they're like, what do you think? And I'm like, it's garbage. And then they stand there like, dazed. And I'm like, let me clarify. It's garbage if you want me to print it on a shirt. Beautiful artwork. I love the artwork. But the format of it, the way it's done right now, it's useless. It's no good to anybody. You know what I mean? So you need to either do this or change it or have us redo it or something. But people, I've found more people appreciating the honesty than being bullshitted. At least I have. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to dealing with customers and scheduling. You know what I mean? I'll tell a customer straight up. It's like, I can try to have it for you by Friday, but you're probably looking at Tuesday or Wednesday. And that's just being honest. You know what I mean? Maybe I'll have it done by Wednesday, but I'm not going to promise something to you on a Wednesday, knowing in my head that it's probably not going to get done on a Wednesday. Yeah. I'd rather tell them that than say, oh yeah, it'll be Wednesday afternoon. Then they call on Wednesday afternoon. It's not done. Now you've got to explain why it's not done. You know what I mean? And then I think that just starts a whole level of, now they don't trust you when you say, I'll have it for you on Friday. Mm-hmm. So I try to give them like a little range. Like sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I can have that for you tomorrow. No problem. Easy stuff. But there are times, where I'm just like, let me see what I can do. I can't promise it to you, but if I can get this out of the way, then maybe I can bump some stuff up and get to your stuff. And it's just, I'd rather do honesty than, well, look, I can barely remember how to get to work sometimes. You think I could jungle like a bunch of lies in my head? I said jungle. I meant juggle. It's a jungle in there, but
probably not.
No, I can't read a script without screwing up. You think I'm going to be able to remember who I lied to?
Well, I mean, I think sometimes, like, because I think sometimes the honesty part like the way you put it, yes, I can see that part of it. But like sometimes it's not always so great to be so honest. Like if I came to you and I said, well, I guess this is a bad example because
I hate your mustache, and if I have to see it one more time, I'm going to pull it out hair by hair.
Yeah, like if I said that to you, I'd be like, oh my God, I have one. And you'd be like, yeah, I see it all the time, like when you're standing in the light. And I'd be like, oh, geez.
Oh. But yeah, if you came in with a mustache, I'd be like, Angela. You're on camera now, girl. Okay, you gotta
get rid of that.
Brush up a little bit.
So, like, I would expect you, but you're also
I'll put a trimmer under your mouth.
Yeah. See, like, I would expect you to say something like that to me because I would come to you and I'd be like, you would be the one I would come to and say, hey, do I look fat in these jeans? And you would say, oh my God, what the hell are you wearing? Like, I would hope you would say that. But like, if my husband says to me, like, if I go to my husband and I say, babe, how do I look in this dress? And he says, oh, you look fine.
You're lying.
I was like, fine. I was like, you mean I don't look hot in this dress? But that's just my husband, though. He's not like that, right, So right. Like there's one of those things. Yeah. Well, that's what Steven would say. Meh. It would look meh. I'd be like, okay, so that means not to wear this dress.
No, I see what you mean. Yeah, sometimes let's not call it lying, but you're little like white lies, like little twists of the truth to preserve somebody's feelings.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah. I mean, obviously, yeah. You don't want to, again, I'm a big proponent for the truth, but obviously, just like anything else, too much truth is probably not good for everybody.
It's not good.
You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, yeah, you have to monitor it. Like I would never say, Angela, look, on the monitor, I can see your mustache.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not on air.
Right. You tell me later. So Let's get back to this. So you do have one, and I would make sure that you use something on that before the next show. I'd be like, oh, thanks, Wayne. I was like...
Friday night, we're like, Angela.
I'm going to know what that means, too. Everyone's going to be like, what the heck is he saying to you? I'd be like, don't worry about it.
Can I use your bathroom? I got to run upstairs real quick. Where do you keep the razors?
Do you have disposable razors?
That is so mean. Well, we just covered that. So I was just going to say, sometimes honesty could, being honest could be a vulnerability. You know what I mean? And you can certainly, hurt people's feelings of being too honest.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's one thing if you're like, like, I don't think that program works for our business. because it's not giving us, we're paying a lot of money for it and it's not doing what we need it to do.
Right.
Like that's being honest for a good reason. But, like you said, to hurt somebody's feelings, that's not really
right.
But and that probably doesn't make you feel good either,
Well, it
like,
wouldn't
so
make.
you're
I'm sure I have droves of people that would argue with me, but I'm not usually one to want to like hurt people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I don't think you are.
It's happened over the years. I mean, you've said, I've said things that I wish I could take back. You know what I mean? And then I've had lots of things that I wish I had said that never got said. But,
Yeah.
But it's all, I think, everything we talked about, I think it's like everything else. You know what I mean? I think as individuals, you need to pay attention to what you're saying and how you're saying it. And I think it's healthy that to not hold on to, like I was just reading these last couple of lines here, like sometimes holding on to these words that don't get spoken, they don't go away. You know what I mean? They stay in your psyche and in your head, and they just get heavier and heavier over time. And I think everybody needs an outlet to express their feelings. You know what I mean? Whether it's about somebody or something or whatever, but just get the feelings out there and say what's on your mind without trying to be hurtful. Try to be honest with what you're trying to say, and go from there.
Mm-hmm.
I think you just got to balance the whole thing out. It's but this was a funny segment because I fit into this whole thing so much, especially the whole I'm totally the one that I kid you not, I'm totally the one that like 3 days later be in the shower singing a song and all this. It's like, and by the way, when I said I was right, you were wrong.
I meant it.
Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know what else I was going to say. I had something in my mind and I kind of lost it there for a second. But I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I think we covered everything there. I do like some of these things on here. Like, think of, maybe to ask everybody, like, think of one thing you've been holding back. I mean, one thing that's been on your mind, or maybe something, maybe an argument or a discussion you had, maybe even 10 years ago, because sometimes those stick in your head too, and maybe find a way to bring that to light, you know what I mean? And speak those words out and say it, whether you text it, call it, speak it.
Yeah, say it or let it go,
right.
Because I feel like sometimes we keep those things in our heads and it builds up.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I've got friends that we'll spout little things off back and forth. You know what I mean? And just and it's just to really like you just said, just to I think when you air it, I mean, it's like some of those self-help things I always tell you. If you speak it, like I'm a big proponent too. Like I think people speak their world into existence. You know what I mean? So if you're constantly speaking negativity, you're going to draw negativity to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If you try to be positive and you're always thinking positive, you're going to draw more positive people towards you. Mm-hmm. It's like negative people want to be with negative people, and positive people want to be with positive people. It's like a magnet. You know what I mean? They draw each other in.
Like attracts like.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think if you've got somebody that you can, even if you text it, or somebody you can call, or like we talk a lot about all sorts of shit on air and off air. And I think getting that out, not only will make you feel better, but will just lighten the load on your mind a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but I think that's all we have tonight. I mean, I took 4 takes, and I'm definitely going to order up. I'm going to make one of those.
Yeah, the little
clapper board.
Yeah, love it.
Tango Talks.
Take one.
Today we got the take 3.
Well, they always say third time's the charm, right? So
that was rough getting going tonight, wasn't it?
Yeah. But we always find our way.
We do, but this time this worked out good. Once we got into motion, I think it turned out to be a good episode.
Yeah, definitely.
So until next time when we see you on Tango Talks.
Yeah. Slancha. We like to throw that at you. Skull. Slancha.
Skull. Slancha. Yeah.
All right. We'll see you next time.
Have a good one, everybody. My mouse likes to disappear when I'm not moving it.